Good morning, YouTube. This is from the cockpit of my Monte Carlo. Let's see if I can't get you in there. So, I'm actually really enjoying these NRG upgraded seat cushions. Very comfortable. You've heard the slogans and the verbiage that test not guess. I will tell you a lot of novice guys guess. I will tell you a lot of seasoned guys guess. I will tell you a lot of dealership guys guess. And there's a certain amount of testing that is needed. So I'll give you some examples. Jeep Dodge Chrysler 3.6, tapping from the valve train, upper valve train. There's nothing really for us to test. You need roller rockers, possibly a cam, and more. Nothing really to test there. Let's say Jeep 3.6 oil leak. Nothing really to test right there. We can pretty much safely say and guess that the oil cooler or the oil cooler gaskets are leaking. It could be just a sending unit, but why would you do all that work to not replace that crappy design part anyway? What else? Technicians who work at the dealership, you see the same problems over and over and over and over. If it's warranty, I think they have to test and measure. If it's a cash job, we'll just say the Ford Turbo 1.5s, coolant consumption with no visible leaks. They already know it needs a short block. There's no real testing. So the verbiage was coolant's consistently low, not overheating, and no visible leaks. Coolant's going somewhere. It's going out the tailpipe. They don't need to test. They can just guess that that's the same problem that millions of other Fords are having. What else do we have? There's just so many things. The customer states the brakes are grinding in the front, right? Technician gets in the car, feels it from the front. You can pretty much guarantee on a guess that it needs pads and rotors. It's probably may or may not need a caliper or a caliper service or a bridge service or something like that, or a brake hose. What else? My car doesn't go into drive no matter what gears I select. Depending on the vehicle, you can pretty much say that transmission is wasted. And if it's low on fluid, there's a reason why it's low on fluid. It's either burning the fluid up or it's leaked out. And some cars, it could just be a shifter cable or bushing. Depends on the vehicle, right? We can almost guess that Rachel is going to storm up to the shop just a few minutes before 8 o'clock every day. I can pretty much guess and tell you that it's going to happen. Like right now, ready? Here she comes, ready? Watch her. Their USB charger or cigarette lighter is not working. You can pretty much guess and say that there's a fuse blown somewhere. Some guys may want to test. I typically don't do that. So do a lot of technicians in our industry guess based on their experience and knowledge? Absolutely. You're going to find that some places, even though that they do the same issues over and over and over and over, and with primary dealerships, so they're working on the same Honda Civic day in, day out, and they know around 30,000 miles on these new engines that the spark plugs are fouling, the valves are carboned up, and if it's out of warranty, the technician's going to get paid diagnostic time. He really doesn't need diagnostic time. He already knows that this car probably needs a cylinder head or a motor, based on their bad design as well. And there are certain things that you do need to test, like, some smoke tests, right, for evap leaks. And some cars are very, very prone, depending on the mileage, on the certain things that fail. And I guess sometimes, depends on the car. But you can guarantee almost every Dodge Chrysler product out there, and Jeep has a bad NVLT or a broken gas cap. I mean, that's, by the time that you start experiencing those symptoms, those parts they're in their failure zone. Just a lot of things. I will tell you, I've seen some dealer work orders that state the customer must do this first before they can figure out if there's anything else wrong, and that's true. Sometimes these systems, that the way they're designed, and for the customer, you need to start at the most affordable solution in most cases. And I see this all the time, and I hear this all the time, is that the customer won't fix the car if you tell them that what the real problem is. Well, you're at the home of, I'm going to tell you what the real problem is all the time, and if I really don't know, I'm going to say, hey, I really don't know. I need to start here. A customer comes in with the engine misfire on every cylinder. I don't know if it has internal engine failure, things of that nature, and then a quick visual inspection shows that, the coil is full of oil and it's boot in a quick check, right? But I need to start there like a full tune-up, right? And then move on and see what I have. We could have an engine that has intermittently low compression from stuck rings or stuck valve, and you may not catch it on the first rip. People's vehicles who come in and their engine rattles on cold start, really not much for me to test there other than pull the oil dipstick out. I can assure you that the time and chain and tensioner and guides are spanked because they're overextending their oil changes. Certain time and chain codes, if we just get one time and chain code, it's very likely that it could be just a component on that bank. But once we start seeing multiple time and chain codes, it's either because the customers ran it low on oil or a combination of things. Along with a time and chain rattle on start and continuous rattle, it's time for a time and chain. There's no testing needed. It's time to commit. So, mechanics in our industry do guess based on their knowledge and experience, absolutely. And then the younger technicians who come into the world, even the guys that I train, I challenge them to think and and know the systems and how it works, and they'll give me their first thought, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. And then, like, to give you an example, Jude was working on his Corvette, couldn't pull a good vac on the cooling system, just did a head cams and header on an LS1. I said, well, that's not good. Did you test the vacuum equipment, right? You got to test your test light. Did you test the vacuum equipment? No. I come in, I test my vacuum gauge today. The day I'm helping him, it would only pull a 15 pound on the gauge for some reason or another, and it wasn't leaking. It's just the gauge is malfunctioning because it's getting handled and abused. Even though I know it's pulling a 30, it's only showing a 15, but he can only pull a 12. And then I said, okay, well, did you put all new gaskets on everything? Yes. I said, well, what about the steam ports tube? He's like, no. I'm like, well, let's start there. My guess was that he either lost or those gaskets had failed. And I said, well, let's just pressurize the cooling system with low PSI and some soapy water. And my guess was correct, is that, the steam port tubes were not sealed properly. So, there's some guessing going on in our business. And some guys you don't want guessing. And some guys you do want guessing. Thanks for watching.